Today, we are talking about how, and I'm ready whenever you are. So, as soon as we're all here, don't wait for me to stop talking, please. So,
Oh yeah, Sylvan's out of here still.
back to story time. You're right, Sylvan. I forget myself. So, Jason, our school basically had kind of done some kind of like a crazy, like, I swear to God, if one of you little shits does a senior prank of any level, none of you get diplomas. And of course the parents were like, of course you can't do that. Like there's just all kinds of blah 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 blah. And nobody knew exactly where it was gonna land. And the deal is, I had some ideas, but you know, at this point in the story where we jump into it, I didn't have nothing solid, right? I wanted to. Who doesn't want to do a senior prank? That's pretty cool, potentially. So, who doesn't want to? But the pranks that I had in mind were just they were impractical. It wasn't really something that was going to work out. I kind of dismissed the idea. But at this point, we're months out. We're probably 6 months out from the end of the school year anyway. I don't know. It's not really coming together. I kind of pushed it back burner. I kind of really forgotten about it. One day at lunch, Jason pops out of the crowd, and this is lunch in high school. And if you're a senior, you might remember this. Or if you remember maybe your senior year, it's nothing but people just kind of standing around trying to compare who cares the least about what's happening in their immediate vicinity. That's all lunch is. There's nothing important. You're in high school, there's very little you've ever thought of. There's very little you've ever done that's any of any real importance. Your empathy, I promise you, doesn't matter. So, or your lack of empathy, rather. Your apathy doesn't matter. So, the deal is, Jason comes over to me. He's like, Lou. And I'm like, yeah, dude, what's up? And he's like, hey, so you wanted to do a senior prank, right? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. But I don't think it's gonna work, because the whole diplomas, like, they threaten. He's like, no, shut up, listen, there's no way they can do that. And I'm like, okay, well, like, okay, so what? What do you have in mind? And he's like, no, I can't talk about it. And I'm like, Jason, there's no one, like, listening to it. He's like, no, listen, I can't explain. I don't know what I want to do, but I have an idea of what I might want to do. And I'm like, Jason, just fucking talk. What do you want to do? He's like, no. I'll tell you later. Look, okay. The northern stairs over by the northern stairs is the locked door where we store the football equipment. Not being in football, no idea that's where it was, but I'm like, yeah, I know where the stairs are, sure. And he's like, yeah, they keep it locked. I'll tape the door shut. I'll tape the lock shut so we can get up there. Meet me over there at 1:30 today. And I was like, Jason, what the fuck are you talking about? I have class. And he's like, no, meet me there. And he bolts. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll meet you over there. So, 1:25 rolls around, and I'm like, okay, hey, teacher, I gotta go to the bathroom. Let me turn this down just a hair. Hang on. Yeah, boom, there we go. Teacher, I gotta go to the bathroom. Can I? And oh yeah, whatever. At least our high school was glorified babysitting. Anyway, the deal is, I meet over there by Jason, and sure enough, the lock was taped shut. I'm on the inside. I'm over there chilling for him, waiting. He shows up with like a lone football helmet. He's like, yeah, I said that I needed to return this. I forgot one. I actually hid it under the bench over by blah blah blah. And I'm like, Jason, what the fuck am I doing here? And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, follow me. And he's like, yeah, and we're walking, we go up these little stairs, through a little door, into the storage, where apparently they keep all the football equipment. I had no idea until this point. All the pads and helmets, they're all locked in this area. Jason was in football. He knew. Okay, cool, I guess, whatever. So, the deal is, he's like, hey, so Steve and I, a friend of ours, we were just kind of horsing around, and like just kind of fucking around, and well, we accidentally broke this wall, and I'm like, the fuck, you broke a wall, Jason? I don't want to be a part of this. What are you doing? He's like, no, listen, and he moves the locker, not the locker, it's like a shelving unit to the side, and sure enough, he's not kidding. He broke the fucking wall. There's like a shoulder-sized hole that's been punched in around the edges, but it was clearly a man's shoulder just wedging in to begin with. But it was just empty space, and there was kind of like a cool breeze that was moving through. And I was like, Jason, what the fuck is this? And he's like, I don't know. But I mean, think about what we could do with this. And I'm like, I guess. And he's like, no, come on in. Look, it's crazier. And so I follow him in. And he's right. It's pitch black. There's no lighting in here, but from just the acoustics of the room, it sounds huge. Now remember, this is back when I was in high school, okay? So we had 2 megapixel cameras. The coolest, the best phones had like 5 megapixel cameras. There was one, the rich kid had an 8. Okay, we're talking megapixels on megapixels. All the way up to 8 megapixels. The shit phones. But they had little camera lights. This is back when, and some of you will remember, some of you will be like, what the fuck is he talking about? There, you used to have to install an app in order to have a flashlight feature on your phone. And it would basically just turn the flash on your phone on, just like all your phones come stock with it. Well, that wasn't always the case. And this is what we had here, where we basically just turned our little apps on our phones, we're looking around, and it's an enormous room. The room is huge. In fact, it is catwalks in an open room that appears to have some kind of terrible plywood floor beneath us. The catwalks are kind of lined, if you reach out like your full arm's length, you can see where people who've come through before have dug into the walls and made peepholes that look out into the rest of the school. And they've written things. Secrets, presumably. Stupid things that only high schoolers care about. Poetry that no one wants to read or repeat. Written on the walls. Maybe from the time they sealed it out. I don't know. Could be someone else has found it in recent history. Maybe way further back in time. I don't know. Certainly no one I ever knew about this place. I was overwhelmed. Jason, what in the hell is this? And he's like, I don't know, man. But think about this. There's so much potential. There's so much potential. We can do something with this room for a senior prank. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but where does this go? So what if we can see outside? And he's like, no, it's crazier. And I'm like, okay. So I end up, I follow him across the catwalks, and there's a section where like we get to
Yeah, Sylvester, what's up?
door, and we get to a door, and the door is locked, and he's like, well, here, I've got an idea, boost me up, and we basically just go over the door because this place is run down, it's abandoned, and yeah, we do break a tile in order to get up above the door, and Jason unlocks it. And it appears to be the old sound booth for the theater. Which, if you knew this layout of our school, you know this is just absolutely bizarre, because it's bizarre, believe me, it's bizarre. And Jason is, he's on the other side, he unlocks it for me, I get in there, and we can actually see out into the theater room, and we can see that this has another door that from this room connects to a further part of the ceiling overview. Okay, sure. Well, same method. I boost him up. Yeah, we break a tile, but I mean, this place is, I mean, by the dust on everything, no one has been back here in ages. It's not like somebody's gonna find out. I bet to this day they still don't fucking know we were up there. So here's the deal. We find out there's actually an old generator room, but none of this has lights. None of it. And we leave this place. And I'm like, okay, so... Alright, so what do we do with this? And he's like, I don't know. We'll have to talk later. We'll talk about this, and we'll figure something out. Alright, man. Alright, hey, thanks. We part ways. Okay. So, over the next couple months, we have our final semester for senior year of high school, and there was a class. Andrew and I grew up, we went to a high school in the middle of fucking nowhere, Washington State, a lot of country, and honestly, not a lot of resources. And so there's actually a senior elective you can take called Senior Security, where you basically just patrol the grounds and you have a walkie-talkie, and you basically just dick around doing nothing.
Our teacher was the one security guard.
Yep, the teacher. So, that was one thing, and I took that class so I could continue scouting the school, looking for other ways to take advantage of what we found. Interesting. Okay. Another aspect. I was also kind of the teacher's pet of this one extremely predominant instructor at our school, who was... I actually, through her, she did health occupations. She was a retired nurse, and I actually lettered in health occupations. I didn't know you could do that till it showed up in the mail. I was like, the fuck is this? And they're like, oh yeah, you lettered in health occupations. What? And I was actually on track to do hospital management. I'm a hospital management course. But that's a whole different conversation. The point is, I had set up 4 different blood drives at our school. Done all the paperwork for, seen through the stamping and permissions of 4 different blood drives. I had also run and taught the class for the teachers CPR. We actually, in high school, were certified as instructors for CPR. And it was just a cool way to kind of get like some people in this advanced class going. You know, get people who were going to be, in theory, predominant features of the community, you know, started early. That was kind of the idea. And I was a teacher's pet of this class. So, I had a lot of faith from this woman, and she had a lot of access, including the only other absolute master key in the school. Okay. So, we're gonna fast forward now. I've given you enough information, and now we're going to the night of. This is the night of the senior parade in my high school. So, for those who are just joining us, I want to give a brief little update. I'm SentSterling, and one of my darling viewers has cashed in a Sterling story, where I tell a story from my life. And you guys just kind of sit back while we do whatever. We got some chill beats going.
Not a problem.
Beautiful Saturday evening. Sub would like to receive some of the credit for pushing this on all of you, and I hope it's worth it. So we're about to get to it. So here we are. You and I, from the perspective of a security camera, on the northern side of my high school, see a white car roll in. I'm glad so. See a white car roll in at approximately 4:30 in the morning. It's just a white car, it's unassuming. It comes into the parking lot well before school starts. The car moves out of frame and appears to be turning around. This is nothing but a lost soul. Made a wrong turn into the school parking lot and leaves. Fast forwarding again. Nothing out of the unusual. The buses show up, the buses leave. It's now night. You can see the headlights of the cleaning staff leaving the school premise at 2:35 a.m. on a Thursday. Well, technically, the AM makes it the morning of a Friday. So, With the the cleaning staff gone, moments later, again, this is a camera with the perspective looking away from the school, looking to see what's happening outside. This northern wall sees only a door open from the inside. Silently, no one on camera, the door opens. And emerging from the darkness just beyond the vision, 6 figures jog into focus and into the building. They leave moments later, and about 10 emerge with them, now all adorned in ski masks. And the work begins. Just on the inside, from the perspective of the internal cameras, the masked figures appear one by one with pieces of paper with masking tape on the inside. Boop. Right over one. Boop. Right over the next. Boop. Right over the next. Until every camera in the school is completely covered. This is it. This is all the cameras see. And the next day, I can tell you my perspective. Walking into this building, school building of mine, there is a DJ set up. There's a DJ set up in the middle of the commons area. Just spinning tracks, and everybody is buzzing. The teachers are running around frantically. Everything is going on. Good to hear. Everybody is just trying to find out what the hell's going on, because there are no desks and no tables and no chairs in the entire school. Not one. They are all gone. They're all gone. And there's a DJ in the main lobby. Everyone is just chattering and shimmering, and I'm exhausted. But I can tell you, one of my first periods that day was senior security. Again, that kind of wash class. I go in there, and I'm privy to some of the conversation that's happening inside. Some of what I heard was, because they had on speakerphone the principal, they had the security, they had different members of the administrative staff there. They were on school with the superintendents who were like, well, so now what did they break? And the principal gestures to security, and she's like, it doesn't look like anything's broken, but we haven't finished checking everything. Oh, well, what did they steal? Well, it doesn't look like they stole anything. Actually, everything seems to be here, but again, we haven't finished checking everything. So the chairs, yes, that's right. They're on the roof. Everything's on the roof. So it's on the roof? Yeah, all the chairs, apparently from everywhere. It's all on the roof. And the desks, they're all on the roof? Yes, sir, everything is on the roof. Well, are they like broken? Is the roof okay? Yeah, it all seems to be stacked up pretty nicely. Well, I mean, do you have a plan to get them down? Well, yeah, I mean, we hired some cherry pickers. They should be here pretty soon. Oh. Well, do you know who did it? No. We checked all the security footage, and we really don't know, we have no idea. There's nothing on the camera, but we're still analyzing it. We're looking for clues. And, the superintendent on the phone is like, well, I mean, you know, I gotta say, it sounds like we're lucky they didn't do anything else. I mean, I guess I wouldn't worry about it too much, right? And the principal's like, well, I mean, we'll still look into it, but I mean, and we'll update you if, you know, anything develops. And he's like, yeah, I mean, right, sure, yeah, right. I remember talking with our security, and I was like, well, shit, this is all kind of crazy. What's going on here, huh? She's like, well, you know, I don't know how they did it. It's all just here. I don't know. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. But you have no idea. No idea. I got a feeling Jason Pierce is behind this, but there's no idea that guy can organize something like this. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Jason. She's like, huh.
She was.
I don't know. No, she was not. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. She's like, yeah, well, hey, if you hear anything, you know, you let me know, huh? And I'm like, yeah, hey, no problem. You got it. And eventually, like, and there were people who I had kind of like been like, hey, there's a thing that I can't tell you about, but if I can have your absolute pledge of secrecy here, I'd like to include you on something. You know, people who were like athletes, stuff like that, who like, you know, definitely had some things to lose, and so I understood if they didn't want to get in right away. And so, when it happened, the ones who said no were usually just like, motherfucker. Like, that was kind of the reaction, where it was just like, motherfucker. You son of a bitch. I wish I'd known it would have been so clean. And I'm just like... And, that was kind of the reaction. And, eventually, I went to this predominant figures class. I was the TA for her class at the time of this event. And, I was a little late just because I was dragging my heels and people were randomly stopping me like, oh my god, who do you think did it? And I'm like, I don't even know, man, I couldn't tell you. But, the deal is, I got in there and she's like, and well, look who it is. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, well, the way I hear it, nothing was broken. I can only think of one person who could have executed something so precisely. But it couldn't have been you. When I called you last night looking for some files that we couldn't find, you were at your friend's house. The friend's house that your parents said that, you know, well, there was some mix-up. Both of your parents thought you were at the other's house somehow. Oh, how confusing. And I'm like, man, that does sound confusing. I wouldn't worry about it, though. And she's like, oh, I'm not. I'm not. She was sly. This woman was thrilled with the event, and I don't believe she ever even mentioned it. But she was very grateful and actually asked that the class applaud. I was touched. Really, the whole thing was wonderful because let me tell you about the night before. That's how it went down. It was not so smooth making it all happen. Because, rewinding a little bit, from the time that we fast forwarded, for months, Jason and I planned, we toiled, and I talked him out of destructive acts because he knew that we could get away with it, and he wasn't wrong. We couldn't be touched if we were careful. But they're gonna look that much harder if it goes wrong and people are hurt or damage is done to the property. So it seemed to me to be the only recourse to avoid all damage, and it took every single interaction I had with Jason to keep him from doing something stupid. But we didn't do anything stupid in the end. We got a team of people, again, who were basically just absolutely rock solid, airtight. And we planned for months. And eventually, we put it together. We had people patrolling the actual perimeter of the school, who would be using various night vision wear from parents, from, you know, weird survival camps they had to go to. Again, this is rural Washington. From little hunting scopes or whatever. And they were patrolling, and they were in constant 2.5 minute to 5 minute checks depending on their location. Further, there are 3 streets that led to the school, and about a mile down the road on each street, we had people placed with cell phones who would call us in an emergency if they saw more than one cop car headed toward the school from any of the directions. And one of them, you guys might know.
Nah.
Hold on just a moment
There
here.
should be some in the box.
That earbud died, apparently. Can you guys hear me okay? There we go. You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good. It was one of them was Andrew. Andrew was one of these guys. He was one of our early heads up.
You have to find it.
And the deal is, we got everybody there, and Jason and I had found a way of dodging the cameras because of my access to senior security. I was able to see what cameras could see where. And we were able to plot a course that completely kept us out of the sight of the cameras and allowed us to sneak in through the... We found out there was another way into the facility, but it was rough. And we had to cross over the little spindles of roofing that were over the actual stage. Very dangerous. To this day, I don't know what the fuck we were thinking. But we did it. And we found a way up there, and we waited. For 14 hours, we waited on the day up. Because I was able to talk the president of our school, an extremely, I don't know. It was a lovely Mormon kid who was always looking to please, always. And I was able to convince him to hold a celebration for our janitor. Our janitor at our school, just to add more bizarre nature to this, was actually a multi-millionaire. There's a huge hospital right in the area of where we grew up. He owned all the land it was on. And the guy volunteered as the janitor at our school. His name was Dave. It is Dave, I hope. I hope he's well. And he is a wonderful man if he still continues. Dave. Oh. But I was able to talk the president of our school into a Dave Day, where he made up a whole bunch of banners, put them all over the school that Thursday night, and hired a DJ to play that Friday. Just to add to the confusion. Because my plan was to get these airtight people, because we waited for 13 hours. We cut holes in ski masks. We got everything ready. We sat up there. That card that I mentioned at the very beginning was us dropping off 2 duffel bags of materials. Running it up there, running out to the car, because we couldn't very well bring duffel bags of materials into the school. That's a little conspicuous. And we couldn't just keep making trips to our hideaway. Eventually we would get caught. We were going somewhere we weren't supposed to be. It was going to happen. So, eventually, like I said, we get to the day, run the 2 duffel bags up, run them out to the car as it turns around, and it's like nothing ever happened. So, we are up there waiting and waiting and waiting. We prepare all the ski masks, we get the tape ready on the back of all the paper, we review the plan, review the plan, review the plan. And then, because we'd watched the exact rotation, the entry and the exit of all the cleaning staff, for weeks, we sat in the gas station parking lot all night, did many all-nighters doing reconnaissance on the school. We knew exactly when the cleaning staff would be leaving on Thursdays, and it was go time. It was right about time the cleaning staff had left. I mentioned 5:35. Thing is, though, they should have been gone. Or, I'm sorry, 2:35. They should have been gone at 2. They had to come back. They forgot something. And as it turns out, Jason and I are actually traversing the rafters on our way down. She forgot something underneath us. And it was like a goddamn Indiana Jones movie. Because we are in direct sight of her, hanging on to little feeble pieces of plywood that can barely support our weight. We didn't feel comfortable on for a moment. Waiting for the cleaning staff to finish looking for something underneath us and then leave, holding our breath. I remember holding my breath as if it was going to help, knowing that if something happened, Jason was too unpredictable. I was going to lose control of the situation. He was going to do something stupid. And I remember fear. I'm not religious, but I remember praying. So, the deal is, from here, we're at a place where we're able to get down. We had set some dollies to the side because of reasons. We had to just have them here and there for, moving different things throughout the day, lunch tables, whatever. We'd ask other people to do 1 or 2 for us, so it wasn't just us. And we were able to basically scoop together using the master key, go through and take every single chair, every single table, and through teams that were dispersed on the roof and on a little weird-ass flower bed thing that our school did not need. They were standing on that. We had a ground team, we had a raised team and a roof team, a roof dispersal team, and a ground collection team. And like clockwork, it was, I think, the most fatigued I've ever been in my entire life. It happened fast, it happened smooth. And because there were months of planning involved, everyone that we had was simply operating off direction, simple direction, given one at a time. It was perfect. Nothing went wrong. That is to say, nothing went wrong. We took a knee after it was all done. This is where things kind of started. Because everybody had to get there, right? Everybody had to leave. Which meant, potentially, a whole bunch of cars leaving the area the school's at. People were told to park far away, but there was limited availability. And there was a local event that actually pushed some of the planned parking to something much closer to the school. And effectively, there was a church right next door, and 3 cars were seen leaving that church all at the same time. And the police in the area had been put on alert that there might be some shenanigans because of potential school pranks. Well, we did get pulled over on our way leaving the senior prank. And the cop that pulls us over asks us where the hell we're going and why we're out so late on a school night. And we're like, oh, officer. And just started throwing together a story that he knew was bullshit because we weren't even trying to sell it. We were too tired and we knew we were free. We're like, oh, officer, it being so close to the end of the school year, we had a slumber party. And he's like, a slumber party? You guys are like, 17, 16, 18-year-old athletes here. What the hell are you doing with a slumber party? And we're like, well, we love kung fu movies. That's why we're all dressed like ninjas. Uh-huh. Yeah, you are wearing all black. Is that a ski mask with eyes cut out of it? Yeah, we didn't have real ninja masks, so we had to improvise. And basically, the guy's trying to rattle us, and he's radioing over like, hey, so you pulled another car over? Yeah. What is it? It says they were just having some kind of a get-together. Won't specify, it says it doesn't have to, doesn't want to get into it. Okay. Well, hey, and then the cop threatens us with our lives if he has to come find us. He's like, I got all your IDs. I know where you fuckers live, and I'm fucking coming for you if I hear anything is broken or anything is wrong. And we're like, hey, you got it. You got it. That's it. No. Don't worry, it won't be a problem, officer. But we are very tired, and we decided not to have a real sleepover. We canceled it halfway through after a couple kung fu movies. Eventually, he lets us go. And, there you have it. Yeah, basically, we never, nothing ever came of it. They wanted to press charges on Jason, but they couldn't do anything to it. And eventually, and this is interesting, my, hey man, good. I'm glad. But yeah, eventually, I was actually at a party years later, and this guy was telling me, because I overheard a story. Oh, there's actually two little forwards here. So there was a guy at a party who I overheard talking about the legendary senior prank of Prairie. Oh, you didn't hear about this? Oh, let me tell you. He's talking all about what happened. He talks about how he found a way into a crawl space, and he waited there for 6 hours until everybody was gone. Then he came out, and he and his friend single-handedly put all the chairs in the school on the roof. And I was like, damn, that's a son of a bitch. And you said that was in 2007? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, wow. Because if it was on this day, I was in the middle of waiting for 13 hours in the ducts that we found in the secret, weird, hidden rooms that they closed due to asbestos overdose. And by the way, that's what we found out was up there. They were shut down due to too much asbestos. It was a cost analysis. They're like, do we use this room?
Board it up.
Or do we just board it up and not deal with removing the asbestos? And that was the decision they went with. They just boarded it up and decided not to fuck with the asbestos. And so it was whole parts of the school that they just no longer used because they were riddled with asbestos. And that's what we found. The weird-ass former sections of the school, now empty, darkened catacombs where only asbestos lay. Except for one night when Jason and Lou were there. So, here's the deal. We also, with some coaxing from Jason, I did let him talk me into this, we put ourselves into an extremely compromising position up there. And we spray painted our initials in a spot no one could ever see unless they were looking. And I made an offer to my brother's friends, because he's 3 years younger than I am. And I said, hey, if you guys ever find mine and Jason's initials, I'll give you $200. And they were like, deal. And one day, when Paul was a senior, he came home absolutely frantic, shit-eating grin from ear to ear. Lou, a kid broke his arm. Paul, what the fuck are you talking about? He broke his arm. He was looking for your money. I don't have any money, dude. I'm fucking like, I'm broke. Wait, I'm 20. I don't have any money. And he's like, no. He thought you and Jason put $200 in the ceiling. A kid fell through the ceiling at school today trying to find $200 you left up there. The telephone game did its job, and some asshole was trying to find money he thought I left in the ceiling. Anyway. Yes. There we are. There you have it.
No, they weren't. Last time I looked.
That is my senior prank story, sub.
I need a green bean.
And I hope it was worth your 7,000 cents. Thank you.
My favorite part was it was what, like 3 days it took them to get all those fucking chairs down?
Yes, they did.
10 at a time on the cherry picker.
Because there just aren't that many cherry pickers in the area. And so it was like one fucking cherry picker.
We'd
that's
between
true.
classes walk past it. There's another 10 chairs.
There's still
coming down.
there's another 10 chairs coming down. Yeah. There you go. I hope it was worth it, man.